Welcome back to episode 3 of my Isle Royale backpacking adventure. At the end of episode 2, I had arrived at last at Daisy Farm Campground. In this episode, I get to see 2 more moose, enjoy a magical sunrise, then hike from Daisy Farm to McCargoe Cove, getting even more amazing views, and finishing up with a snake on my shelter and a close-up look at a turtle preparing to lay eggs. I'm Donna, and this is my backpacking trip to Isle Royale National Park in Michigan. I spent 2 weeks on the island doing a solo hike from one end to the other and back again. This is the campground map for Daisy Farm. The triangle shapes are group sites, circles are tent sites, and the angled roofs are the shelters, and the outhouses look like outhouses. Every designated campground has an outhouse, and it also has water available, meaning there's access to a lake that you can filter the water from. Shelter 12. I chose it because I simply did not want to go any farther. It's on the outer edges of Daisy Farm, but it's a nice shelter. There are some neighboring shelters, so I'm sure it could be crowded out here, but there's no one out here right now. Hey, there's another one up there. And what I like about it has a nice view of the water and easy access to get water. This is the inside of the shelter. It's a lot of room for one person, but I love to sleep in the Isle Royale shelters. Every campground has at least one outhouse, and this is what they look like. Nothing fancy, but it beats a hole in the ground. So I am in the lovely shelter number 12 at Daisy Farm. First thing I did when I got in was to trade out my boots for sandals. Second thing was to carry all my things into the shelter. Third thing was to walk down to the water and splash some of that nice cold Lake Superior water on me. And the next thing I did was I came in here to start unpacking. And all I really wanted to do was sit down and rest. And then I remembered I have my chair. So instead of unpacking, I am sitting very comfortably in this chair, and I could not be happier. And I will feel much better about unpacking once I've rested in the chair a bit. I went to bed early, as you tend to do when hiking. The next morning I was up just before the sun, looking over my map, planning the route for the day, when I heard something outside. A moose walked by on the trail right outside the shelter. There were actually 2 of them. The other one was down by the water. So once it went by, I walked down by the water to watch them. I watched the sky change color with the sunrise and loons floating on the peaceful water. I had seen 2 moose that morning and was now up to 3 moose in 2 days, which was setting the bar a bit high for the rest of the trip. But it was just a perfect morning on Isle Royale. After breakfast, I packed up and hit the trail, getting to see some of the famed Daisy Farm daisies, as well as other wildflowers and giant ferns. It's a bit overgrown in here. Walking through here, I'm hating all the mosquitoes. Bit of a climb. to my face. I feel like all you hear is me gasping for air. Snowshoe hare up on the boardwalk. He's sitting on the boardwalk eating stuff that's on the edge. This is a purple pitcher plant. I was so distracted by the exotic blooms on it that I didn't even notice it was a pitcher plant until later. So I climbed up to the viewpoint. It's a higher elevation lookout point. And another amazing view from way up high. It's just a beautiful day. I've seen two groups of people. One is a set of Conservation Corps workers with a ranger out here to do some work. They're going to be out here for quite a while. And I just saw two women hikers going the opposite direction. Up on the ridge here. Sunny part here out on the rocks. A lot of it's been shaded. See the birch trees. It's been a lot easier than what the Rock Harbor Trail was yesterday. There may still be harder parts ahead, but overall it hasn't been too bad. Of course, I'm only a few miles in at this point. Because I said it wasn't very hard, it got a lot harder. Been climbing uphill pretty steadily and pretty steeply for a while, mostly on rock. I'd like to think I'm near the top. You can never tell. Sometimes it looks like the top. I'll find another top up ahead. So the view's nice. Wow. I don't know if the camera will catch it, but the lake down there is sparkling like diamonds. It's moving and the sun is glinting off it. It's amazing. Found some ripe blueberries and I'm very excited because I had not expected them to be ripe yet. There are a few in here. That is such a nice treat. Hi! Blueberries. I'd hoped to find some thimbleberries, but it was early in the season and they weren't ripe yet. I did find some small raspberries though. So I'm still on my way to McCargoe. I have not yet made it to East Chicken Bone, so I'm getting close. And then suddenly there's this view right along the trail. That is amazing. It's really the first steep downhill I've come to. I would guess the turnoff for East Chicken Bone is at the bottom. From there I'll be heading up towards McCargoe. My feet are sore. I've still got a little over 2 miles to go, I think. I'm hungry, so at the bottom I'll probably stop to eat. Rest a bit and then finish up the last 2 miles. I eventually reached McCargoe Cove, my tracker having logged over 9.5 miles. Once again, my feet were very sore at the end of the day, which I figured was because of the rocky terrain and the heavy pack. It wasn't until after this trip, though, that I discovered the issue was actually my boots. That meant that for all the remaining days of this trip, I finished with very sore feet. This is the campground map for McCargoe Cove. I took shelter number 4, nestled up in the trees not far from the trail with a view of the water. As I was getting settled in, I noticed that every time I walked up to the shelter, a snake slithered away from near the front of the cabin. It was a garter snake sunning itself, nothing to worry about. At one point I was sitting inside the shelter looking at the route for the next day when I saw something sticking out from the door frame about 3/4 of the way up the door. It twitched and I realized the snake had climbed up the shelter door on the outside. Just as I reached for my camera, it dropped from the door to the stairs and slithered away. They're harmless, but it did startle me. McCargoe Cove has a dock. My shelter is a little way up in the trees from here, and I spent the evening sitting on the dock enjoying the beautiful weather. I watched butterflies, loons, and even a turtle rapidly swimming toward shore, and absorbed the peaceful tranquility of the island as the moon rose in the sky. I heard a noise just behind me and turned to find a turtle digging a hole to lay her eggs. I watched for a long while, busy at work. Moose, snowshoe hare, snakes, and now a turtle. It was a perfect end to another perfect day on Isle Royale. That's it for episode 3. In the next episode, I have a solitary hike on the Minong Ridge from McCargoe Cove to Todd Harbor. I do not see a single person on the trail. I spend a lot of time going up to the top of the ridge, down into the trees, and back up again over and over and over. I also explore the Minong Mine, which is really cool, and visit the Haytown Mine at Todd Harbor. Be sure to like and subscribe to get notified of the next episode. The Minong Ridge and Todd Harbor are stunning, so don't miss the next episode. Thanks for watching.